Hey guys, I'm Alex, and today I'm going to review electron domain geometry for the IB Chemistry Standard Level exam. And so, looking at electron versus molecular domain geometry, the real question is, what's the difference? And so, electron domain geometry is going to factor in the lone pairs of electrons when you are talking about the shape. So, when we were talking about molecular geometry in the previous video, you disregarded the lone pairs in the shape. You didn't count them as one of the branches off of the central atom. You only looked at what that central atom bonded with, what other atoms it bonded with, in order to talk about the shape. But for electron domain geometry, you're going to count those lone pairs as a branch off of the central atom and use that to determine the name of the shape. And so on this slide, we've got three examples of structures which all have varying molecular geometry names. Methane is going to be tetrahedral, ammonia is going to be trigonal pyramidal, and water is going to be bent. But they all have the same electron domain geometry, which is tetrahedral. And so looking at methane, it has 4 branches off the central carbon atom, and so it's going to be the same for both because there are no lone pairs. The electron domain and the molecular geometry is going to be tetrahedral. But looking at the ammonia on the middle picture, there is 1 lone pair on the top and 3 hydrogen atoms bonded on the bottom of that nitrogen atom. And so while the molecular geometry is trigonal pyramidal, the electron domain geometry is going to be tetrahedral because we are counting that lone pair as one of the branches off of the central atom. And so when we move on to the last image of the water atom, or water molecule, it once again is going to be tetrahedral because it has 4 branches off of that central oxygen atom. It has the 2 lone pairs and it has the 2 hydrogen atoms. So even though it's bent in molecular geometry, it's going to once again be tetrahedral because it has those 4 pairs. And so most of the structures that we saw in molecular geometry, the name still applies, except you're just going to be looking at all of the branches, including the lone pairs of certain atoms. And so for some structures, it will be the same. If there are no lone pairs, the electron domain and the molecular geometry is going to be the same name. But if there are lone pairs, there's going to be varying names. And so that was just a quick overview of electron domain geometry versus molecular geometry. Enjoy.